Hi, my name is Maddie Alexander. Good to meet y'all. Um, so I listened to the reading for this week and I found it very interesting to learn about how many kids in the most recent years have been learning how to read. Um, Because even from when I was younger, I feel like I remember learning what I guess you would consider the original way of sounding out words and such. But to be 100% honest, I feel like I don't even completely understand what the logic was behind the newer style, since to me it almost seems like it would be more confusing to kids and kind of, as they said, just throwing out words and hoping it hits, which I feel like is it might work to a certain extent, but I feel like it would never really allow the kids to comprehend what they were reading. And I guess also one of my bigger questions was what happens when they're reading something that didn't have pictures. Like, I feel like it would only get so far. But I feel like if anyone here has been around kids more recently or even just been on social media, I think it's very apparent that we have been in a reading epidemic. Um, Even if you just look on social media like TikTok, not too long ago there was like a trend going around where people had flashcards and it had sentences on it, and a lot of these had bigger words, but still things that most people, I feel like, would know how to read or be able to sound out. And they would just find people on the streets and try to get them to read it. And more often than not, most of these people could not do so. And also didn't even really know how to sound out the words, which I just found very odd because personally, I feel like that was rule number one and things that we were taught when reading something. But also, um, as the podcast kind of touched on, I feel like it made it very apparent that this wasn't just an issue in, I guess, what you would consider our lower class communities, but also just in general, because as they interviewed with the parents of a kid in a upper class district in Manhattan, or um, some area in Rhode Island, like the issue was still the same. So I feel like this just kind of touches on the point that this was more an issue of how we were teaching kids and not necessarily um, where they were from. I believe those are all my points. So